I've heard many, many dumbass things in my career. A lot of shallow thought, a lot of shallow thinking, a lot of shallow statements. One of the worst I can recall was one made by Nancy Reagan when she was talking about her solution to the drug problem that we had in this country. Her solution was, she said, well, the answer is simple, just say no. Um, that's a problem with a lot of reform and a lot of analysis by politicians and others. They analyze and vocalize in simplistic terms that mean nothing but get people excited about certain things that appeal to them that are emotional only. What does it mean just say no to drugs? Well, why don't people just say no? If it's that easy to just say no, just say no. But anybody with any analytical experience knows differently. The problem isn't just a matter of choice. It isn't a matter of just say no. It's much more complicated than that. Now we have a situation where some people think the police are out of control. Some people think other things are out of control. Some people think protesters are rioters. All the different opinions. And depending upon the point of view, you have all kinds of remedies for this. The people that believe they're all rioters and bad guys, their solution is crack down harder, break a few skulls, get a few bloody noses, and teach these heathens respect. Others don't favor brutality, and they want other answers. I've said myself for a long time, it's not the police, it's the training that they're given. And who sets forth the training? How do they get trained? What are the goals? What are they trying to accomplish? What is the orientation of the training? So then we have to get back to basic philosophy. What is the function of the police? Is the function of the police to support the power structure? Or is it to figure out what's best for society? So should the police be like an oppressive parent, where anytime the kid says something, you slap the shit out of him? Or anytime the kid does something bad, you slap the shit out of him? Or should it be more like the parent that tries to help the child, giving suggestions, leading him, trying to understand and correct behavior? Well, the same is true with institutions. Got to remember, the police are an institution. Government is an institution. Government is also a specific type of corporation called a municipal corporation. And its function isn't to do business, but its function is to advance and help society. So what is the police force's function in such an overview? Well, I believe the police force's main duty is to advance the interests of society. Now, if it's suppressing the minority, that depends on the view. If you've got a view that it's them or us and everybody else is the enemy, that's probably a good position to take. But under our Constitution, it says our government, federal government at least, and the states flow under that, the purpose is to provide for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizenry. So welfare has to be counted too, rather than safety. So if you have 1,000 workers dying so that 5 or 6 owners can profit, is that providing for the general welfare of the country? or for the safety of the country. Well, it's providing for a select few, and that shouldn't be the job of the police. Now, when I first started practicing law, we didn't have professional prosecutors. Even in Chicago, where I went to law school, in the 60s, all of the state's attorneys, as they called the prosecutors there, were allowed to practice law in their spare time and could practice law part-time. This was a really fairly decent way of doing things because the police didn't get locked into one point of view. They took the view of the community rather than of the bureaucracy to which they belonged. So they weren't just pro-police, they were pro-community. And this has been the tradition in the United Kingdom and England for centuries. Prosecutors are trial lawyers, and trial lawyers do trials, whether they defend or prosecute. And they don't really get to pick and choose that much. And it gives a real fair view or perspective, I think. You don't have prosecutors devoted to just putting people in jail and getting notches on their guns and act like Western gunslingers, things like that. You get a different perspective, and it should be a perspective of the community. But this changed under the Nixon administration, where they federalized law enforcement, which used to be local, and tried to apply federal standards, overruling local biases and local preferences, and essentially started nationalizing the police function. And another curious thing they did, I was at that time studying criminology in the theoretical sense, and all that money dried up, and they changed criminology to a thing called criminal justice. So rather than study causation of crime, all of a sudden we were studying how to lock more people up, which I think was really unfortunate. But in the next episode, I want to talk about a client of mine named Mr. Safron and use him to demonstrate how the collective of the police and the police state start affecting justice and affecting the way our court systems work. Stay tuned.